Hi, this is Paul again. I've got another new video to show you, and I'm calling this video Precise 3D Geometry for DNA from Quadstep. In the last couple of years, I've put a lot of research into a system I call Quadstep 288. It's a hierarchical system using groups. So I'm going to concentrate on this video to show you how important it is when you're working with DNA. Okay, to make a start, I'm going to make a Quadstep ring of 48 balls. Now to make this ring, the red, yellow, purple, cyan, red are linked together in a 5-ball hierarchy. Now each of these 5-ball hierarchy are joined together on the red ball in groups, and these are put in a hierarchy also. Now you can see in front that by adding or subtracting groups of balls, you can make rings of any size. I thought this was a wonderful discovery, but people around the world show no interest whatsoever. I thought the Americans would be interested, but only 1 or 2 people ever look at it. But anyways, let's get back to these 3 rings. Okay, you might be thinking, how did I manage to get the diameters correct? In my previous videos, I explained that I use a null 00 in front of the string, and this can be scaled, and it can give you any diameter. I show 3 clips in front and the diameters. That is why the 3 diameters don't look as if they're in scale to each other. Okay, now I'm going to show you how the rungs are arranged in these 3 types of DNA. Now in front I'm showing different rung angles for the DNA. Now the only DNA with the same rung distance is B DNA. Now the A and the Z DNA have got different rung angles. I realize the intellectuals don't show these rung angles. They also don't show Quadstep. So I'm going to show you how these rung angles are tied up with Quadstep. Now if you look in front, I show a 4-gap sequence. Now A DNA is 135 degrees, and B DNA is 144, and Z is 120. So it's plain to see for anybody with a logical mind that these segments of 120, 144, 135 can be linked in a long string. Now you could see that the string of Quadstep could make a ring or spirals of any size. Well, it's the same for the DNA. It makes a long spiral in string. And it is not a circle, it's not a closed circle, it's just a long string, say 120, 120, 120, or 144, 144, 144. Now this makes sense because there are 4 nucleobases in DNA. Okay, if you look in front, I'm showing you the nucleobases as A, C, G, T. That's about all I know about that stuff, so don't ask me any questions about that. But what I'm trying to say is that DNA strings come in Quadstep segments. Let's take a look at A DNA now. In front I'm showing you a dodecahedron, and I'm showing 5 rings, 48 ball Quadstep rings. Now the diameter of each ring is 23 Armstrongs or whatever, but it's 23 as it shows in academia. Okay, the first ring, the height is 0. I showed the height as 0. Now I'm showing you the height of the 5 rings, and you can see they're averaging just over 2.03. So we can say the axial rise is 2.03 average. Okay, now I'm going to show you a Quadstep spiral. picking up the positions of the colored balls in the same sequence as it's going around. It's a 135-degree spiral. Now if you study these rings, you can also see a sequence going in a V. Red, yellow, purple, cyan, red in a V. I think there is amazing sequences, mathematical sequences come out of Quadstep system. It only has to be studied by a couple of intellectuals. I would say it's time to drift away from chaos and disorder. Okay, now I'm going to show you this in the top view. And now you can see the 135-degree segment of the spiral. I'm going to hide the dodeca and show you the 135-degree angle. This makes it easy to understand. I think it's a lot simpler to make 135-degree segments than trying to make a big long stretch. And as you can see in front, I'm repeating the 135-degree links and it's looking pretty simple to me. Okay, now we'll take a look at the BDNA, and this is going to be a bit simpler. Now in front you can see we have another quad step arrangement, and this is an 144 degrees arrangement. Now there's something amazing about this as well. The 40 ball rings fit perfectly onto strings of icosas, a stack of icosas as shown. And something interesting, if you look at ring 4, we show a reading of 9.999. This is as good as 10. And this is exactly the radius of the BDNA. Now academia shows the axial rise as 3.4 for BDNA, but doesn't mention the icosa. It seems that the dodeca and the icosa and stuff like that are not being taught. I think it's the mathematicians only want to work with equations. Anyways, let's take a look at this in the top view. And as you can see, the quad step string fits perfectly around the 40 ball rings. Now I'll add another 144 degree section and show it in the front view. Okay, you can see this goes in 144 degree sections, but the next section is going to be half that, and it's going to give us a 360 degree turn. I'm also going to show accurate slope and rise for BDNA. Okay, that's enough of BDNA. I think we can go now to ZDNA. Now this is a bit different again, and after a bit of research, I see that it's coming from the dodeca and icosa. Now if you look at the dodeca face, you see a little nipple of the icosa sticking out. I call this the slimbo nipple. The spherical diameter of the dodeca is 9.546 and the spherical diameter of the icosa is 8.009. So this makes the icosa 0.84 the diameter of the dodeca. Now my research shows this as a duo, but the academics give it the cold shoulder. I show in my earlier videos that the duo of the icosa and the dodeca, the vectors from the center to the vertices give you the duo 5 vector system. Now if you look in front, the quad step curve picks up the vertices of the dodeca and the icosa. Now if you look at the rings, they're not the same distance apart. Now this gives a ZDNA zigzag, as the scholars call it. And this is where the 22.5 degree and 37.5 degrees come in. I show the height of the rings starting from 1 going up to 5. Now I also show the ratio between ring 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. The ratio worked out to 0.714. I done a search on Google for 714 for DNA and it comes up quite a lot of times. Okay, now I'll show you this in the top view. And I'm going to show the 4 angles of the quad step that makes up the 120 degrees. So this 120 degrees can keep on copying and keep moving forward, making a long chain. And I'm showing this in front for the ZDNA. And I think this system of perfect order is a lot better than chaos. Okay, I'm showing all this stuff with just one helix, and people are thinking, where's the double helix or the dual helix? Okay, so in front I'm showing you how the dual helix of the ZDNA goes together. This has been shown in my last videos. Okay, let's take a look at the aDNA dual helix. And the dual helix goes together very similar to the ZDNA. I've also shown this animation in my previous videos. Okay, I've got one more dual helix to show you, and that's the bDNA. Now this is new. This is from a 40 ball ring. In my previous video, I showed it coming from a 20 ball ring. This is much better. Now look at the 3D geometry of bDNA. The rungs are on the red balls. Now the rungs are 36 degrees apart. Now if we do a quad step of 36 degrees, it comes to 144. Now if you double this, it comes to 288. Now when I was making spirals with 3ds Max, the 288 kept coming up in the calculations. Now that is why I called it Quadstep 288. But the more research I'm putting into this quad step system, maybe it should be just called Quad Step Hierarchical System, Group System. Because I show in this video that the quad step strings can come in 120, 135, 144. Anyways, I think I've showed enough of quad step in this video. So for those people that think quad step's okay, this is Paul saying thank you very much for watching my video.